Apple cider making days. Grandpa drives the tractor that pulls the wagon that carries Alex and Abigail and all the aunts, uncles, and cousins. It is fall, and there are cider-making days on Grandpa's apple farm. Grandpa grows dwarf apple trees that are about as tall as a person. Alex and Abigail pick apples from the lower branches with the cousins. The grown-ups pick the apples growing near the tops of the trees. Alex and Abigail each take a handle and carry their wooden bushel basket full of apples to the wagon. Together they hoist the basket of bright red apples onto the wagon. When the wagon is full, Grandpa drives the tractor to the barn. Alex and Abigail bump along on a bench over the apples in the wagon. Grandpa backs the wagon into the barn until it stands in front of the apple sorter. Alex and Abigail jump down. Grandpa and Abigail unload the apples into the sorter barrel. Cousins run into the barn and take their places along the conveyor belt beside Alex and Abigail. Grandpa flips the sorter switch to on. The sorting machine roars as loud as an airplane inside the barn. The conveyor belt moves along and apples fall onto it from the barrel. Alex and Abigail and the cousins sort the perfect apples from the not-so-perfect apples. The perfect apples move on towards the showers, where a spray of water washes them clean. They tumble across soft foam-padded rubber rollers that gently dry them. Aunts and uncles take the clean, dry, shiny apples and bag them to sell. They carry the bags to the cold storage room. It's always about 40 degrees Fahrenheit inside. Brrr! These are called eating apples. Alex and Abigail and the cousins toss the apples that are bruised or oddly shaped onto another conveyor belt for cider. The cider apples travel in a straight line up a slant as steep as a ski slope before they drop down into a grater with sharp metal blades. They are chopped into small pieces, which Grandpa calls apple mush. The apple mush is sucked up through the wide bendable tubing. The uncles lay a steel frame under the cider press. They cover it with clean burlap cloth. When the cloth is flat, Grandpa squirts gallons and gallons of apple mush onto it. After the cloth is full, the uncles fold it so the sides meet in the middle. They set up a heavy rack on top. They repeat these steps until a huge pile of frames, cloths full of apple mush, and racks are piled on top of each other. Then Grandpa slowly lowers the pancake-flat steel plate of the cider press. This plate squeezes the cider juice out of the apple mush. As more and more pressure is exerted, the pile gets thinner. The air is filled with a strong, sweet apple smell. At last, the golden brown liquid begins to flow through the clear tubing and a giant-sized steel holding tank. The cider is cooled and stored here until it is needed to fill jugs for people to buy. Tomorrow, Grandpa will push open the heavy wooden door to the apple barn. He will crank out the red and white striped awning down until it spreads across the doorway. Then the apple barn will be open for business. Many cars will park along the long gravel-covered drive that leads to the apple barn. City people will drive out to the country to buy jugs of Grandpa's cider, bags of eating apples, and Grandma's homemade donuts. Tomorrow, Alex, Abigail, the aunts, uncles, and cousins will work hard all day, waiting on people in the store, running warm donuts down to the farmhouse, pulling bags of apples from the cold storage room, and keeping the cider flowing. Today is the best cider-making day of all. It is the day Alex and Abigail, aunts, uncles, cousins, Grandpa, and Grandma drink the first sweet cider, the cider that they all helped to make.